my world. Prosperity and happiness. Amen. And we align matter. Yo, let's get what I want. Determination, every law. Spirit to be living God. Divine communication and Presido sọ pé mi ló kọ. On a win election. Gratitude, Kabisi.
Photo! Yana X Jason X Lacey. Let's fucking go. Hold on, wait. Like, okay. Fucking bang, let's do it.
Joe, change my prosperity and happiness.
Jason X Lacey. Let's fucking go. Hold on, wait. Like, okay. Stop. Stand up. Ready? Count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yana X Jason X Lacey. Let's fucking go.
Fuck on ballet. Nike, everything correct. Me and them say we the best. Bel-Air. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Stop. Stand up. Ready? Count of 3. 1.
Chanel. Fuck on ballet. Nike, everything correct. Me and them say we the best.
Stop.
Expensive movers, equity, chance of this like a deputy. Only chase the president from row. Black in the country, but I shall lose. Girlfriend is in the big
1, 2, 3, 4, Cartier.
Yana X Jason X Lacey. Let's fucking go.
Finesse. I dey polo. You know, be say I get a polo. Oh. Skolobo. Boom.
Fresh Prince
of Bel-Air.
Yana X Jason X Lacey. Let's fucking go. Wait. Like,
Chanel. The best now. Me and you say you the vex. I dey bolo. You know, be say I get a polo. Oh.
You've been working on AI safety for 2 decades at least.
Yeah.
All right, Joy. Unleash taste.
Godrich Air Pocket? Wow!
With PowerGel technology, keeps the vacuum fresh for up to 30 days. Godrich Air Pocket.
Stop. Stand up. Ready? Count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
You've been working on AI safety for 2 decades at least.
Yeah. I was convinced we can make safe AI, but the more I looked at it, the more I realized it's not something we can actually do.
You have made a series of predictions about a variety of different dates. So, what is your prediction for 2027?
Dr. Roman Yampolsky is a globally recognized voice on AI safety and associate professor of computer science.
He educates people on the terrifying truth of AI.
And what we need to do to save humanity.
In 2 years, the capability to replace most humans in most occupations will come later. And then in 5 years, we're looking at a world where we have levels of unemployment we've never seen before. Not talking about 10%, but 99%. And that's without superintelligence, a system smarter than all humans in all domains. So it would be better than us at making new AI. But it's worse than that. We don't know how to make them safe. And yet we still have the smartest people in the world competing to win the race to superintelligence.
But what do you make of people like Sam Altman's journey with AI?
So a decade ago, we published guardrails for how to do AI right. They violated every single one. Against gambling, 8 billion lives on getting richer and more powerful. So I guess some people want to go to Mars, others want to control the universe. But it doesn't matter who builds it. The moment you switch to superintelligence, we will most likely regret it terribly.
And then by 2045,
Now this is where it gets interesting.
Dr. Roman Yampolsky. Let's talk about simulation theory.
I think we are in one. And there is a lot of agreement on this. And this is what you should be doing so we don't shut it down. First,
I see messages all the time in the comment section that some of you didn't realise you didn't subscribe. So if you could do me a favour and double check if you're a subscriber to this channel, that would be tremendously appreciated. It's the free thing that anybody that watches the show frequently can do to help us here, to keep everything going in the show, in the trajectory it's on. So please do double check if you subscribed, and thank you so much. Because in a strange way, you're part of our history and you're on this journey with us, and I appreciate you for that. So yeah, thank you. Dr. Roman Yampolsky, what is the mission that you're currently on? Because it's quite clear to me that you are on a bit of a mission, and you've been on this mission for, I think, the best part of 2 decades at least.
I'm hoping to make sure that superintelligence we're creating right now does not kill everyone.
Give me some context on that statement, because it's quite a shocking statement.
Adebolo.
Last decade, we've actually figured out how to make artificial intelligence better. Turns out, if you add more compute, more data, it just kind of becomes smarter. And so now, smartest people in the world, billions of dollars, all going to create the best possible superintelligence we can. Unfortunately, while we know how to make those systems much more capable, we don't know how to make them safe. How to make sure they don't do something wrong with that. And that's the state of the art right now.
Oh, you're
Then we
sticky
need
and
that-
sweaty next to each other.
Just prediction markets. How soon will we get to advanced AI? The timelines are very short, couple of years. 2-3 years according to prediction markets, according to CEOs of top labs. And at the same time,
You remember the fuck he said? He said that's your job.
make sure that the systems are aligned with our preferences. So we're creating this alien intelligence.
Okay, wait, here's
If
my
aliens
question.
were coming to Earth, you have 3 years to prepare. You would be panicking right now. But most people don't even realize this is happening.
So some of the counter arguments might be, well, these are very, very smart people. These are very big companies with lots of money. They have a obligation, and a moral obligation, but also just a legal obligation to make sure they do no harm. So I'm sure it'll be fine.
But
The
how's you
only
gonna hold
obligation they have is to make money for the investors. That's the legal
how's
obligation
you
they
gonna
have.
hold the
They have
camera?
no moral or ethical obligations. Also, according to them, they don't know how to do it
I
yet.
like your
The
haircut?
state-of-the-art answers are, we'll figure it out when we get there,
You do it?
or AI will help us control more advanced AI. That's insane.
In terms of probability,
Okay, wait,
what do you think
here's-
is the
here's my
probability
question.
that something goes catastrophically wrong?
So nobody can tell you for sure what's going to happen. But if you're not in charge, you're not controlling it, you will not get outcomes you want. The space of possibilities is almost infinite. The space of outcomes we will like is tiny.
But how's you gonna hold the camera?
And who are you and how long have you been working on this?
I like your
I'm a
haircut.
computer scientist
You
by
heard
training.
what he said. He
I have
said
a
that's your
PhD in
job.
computer science and
You know what
engineering. I probably started work in AI safety, mildly defined as
Okay, wait,
control
here-
of bots at the
But
time,
how's you gonna hold the camera?
15 years ago.
15 years ago. So you've been working on AI safety before it was
I
cool.
like your haircut.
Before the term
You heard
existed,
what he
before
said.
the
He said
term
that's
AI
your
safety.
job.
So you're the founder of the term AI safety.
The term, yes, not the field. There are other people who did brilliant work before I got there.
Why were you thinking about this 15 years ago?
But how's
Because
you gonna
most
hold
people
the
have only been
camera?
talking about the term AI safety for the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it started very mildly just as a security project. I was looking at poker bots, and I realized that the bots are getting better and better. And if you just project this forward enough, they're going to get better than us, smarter, more capable. And it happened. We are playing poker way better than average players. But more generally, it will happen with all other domains, all the other cyber resources. I wanted to make sure AI is a technology which is beneficial for everyone. So I started work on making AI safe.
Was there a particular moment in your career where you thought, oh my God,
First 5 years at least, I was working on solving this problem. I was convinced we can make this happen, we can make safe AI. And that was the goal. But the more I looked at it, the more I realized every single component of that equation is not something we can actually do. And the more you zoom in, it's like a fractal. You go in and you find 10 more problems, and then 100 more problems. And all of them are not just difficult, they're impossible to solve. There is no seminal work in this field where, like, we solved this, we don't have to worry about this. There are patches. There are little fixes we put in place, and quickly people find ways to work around them. They jailbreak whatever safety mechanisms we have. So while progress in AI capabilities is exponential, or maybe even hyper-exponential, progress in AI safety is linear or constant. The gap is increasing.
the gap between the
How capable the systems are and how well we can control them, predict what they're going to do, explain their decision making.
I think this is quite an important point because you said that we're basically patching over the issues that we find. So we're developing this core intelligence, and then to stop it doing things, or to stop it showing some of its unpredictability or its threats, the companies that are developing this AI are programming in code over the top to say, okay, don't swear, don't say that rude word, don't do that bad thing.
Exactly. And you can look at other examples of that. So HR manuals, right? You have those humans, they're general intelligences, but you want them to behave in a company. So they have a policy, no sexual harassment, no this, no that. But if you're smart enough, you always find a workaround. So you just push in behavior into a different, not yet restricted subdomain.
We should probably define some terms here. So there's narrow intelligence, which can play chess, whatever. There's artificial general intelligence, which can operate across domains, and then super intelligence, which is smarter than all humans in all domains. And where are we?
So that's a very fuzzy boundary, right? We definitely have many excellent narrow systems, no question about it, and they are super intelligent in that narrow domain. So protein folding is a problem which was solved using narrow AI, and it's superior to all humans in that domain. In terms of AGI, again, I said, if we showed what we have today to a scientist from 20 years ago, they would be convinced we have full-blown AGI. We have systems which can learn, they can perform in hundreds of domains, and be better than human in many of them. So you can argue we have a weak version of AGI. Now, we don't have super intelligence yet. We still have brilliant humans who are completely dominating AI, especially in science and engineering. But that gap is closing so fast. You can see, especially in the domain of mathematics. 3 years ago, large language models couldn't do basic algebra. Multiplying 3-digit numbers was a challenge. Now they're helping with mathematical proofs. They're winning mathematics Olympiads, competitions. They are working on solving millennial problems, hardest problems in mathematics. So in 3 years, we closed the gap from subhuman performance to better than most mathematicians in the world. And we see the same process happening in science and in engineering.
You have made a series of predictions and they correspond to a variety of different dates. I have those dates in front of me here. What is your prediction for the year 2027?
We're probably looking at AGI as predicted by prediction markets and tops of the labs.
So we'd have artificial general intelligence by 2027. And how would that make the world different to how it is now?
So if you have this concept of a drop-in employee, you have free labor, physical and cognitive, trillions of dollars of it. It makes no sense to hire humans for most jobs. If I can just get, a $20 subscription or a free model to do what an employee does, first, anything on a computer will be automated. And next, I think humanoid robots are maybe 5 years behind. So in 5 years, all the physical labor can also be automated. So we're looking at a world where we have levels of unemployment we've never seen before. I'm not talking about 10% unemployment, which is scary, but 99%. All you have left is jobs where, for whatever reason, you prefer another human would do it for you. But anything else can be fully automated. It doesn't mean it will be automated in practice. A lot of times, technology exists, but it's not deployed. Video phones were invented in the 70s. Nobody had them until iPhones came around. So we may have a lot more time with jobs and with world which looks like this. But capability to replace most humans in most occupations will come very quickly.
Okay, so let's try and drill down into that and stress test it. So, a podcaster like me, would you need a podcaster like me?
So let's look at what you do. You prepare,
Yeah.
you ask questions, you ask follow-up questions, and you look good on camera.
Thank you so much.
Let's see what we can do. Large language model today can easily read everything I wrote and have very solid understanding. Better, I assume you haven't read every single one of my books. That thing would do it. It can train on every podcast you ever did, so it knows exactly your style, the types of questions you ask. It can also find correspondence between what worked really well, like this type of question really increased views, this type of topic was very promising, so you can optimize, I think, better than you can because you don't have a data set. Of course, visual simulation is trivial at this point.
So you can make a video within seconds of me sat here and...
So we can generate videos of you interviewing anyone on any topic very efficiently, and you just have to get likeness, approval, whatever.
Are there many jobs that you think would remain in a world of AGI? If you're saying AGI is potentially going to be here, whether it's deployed or not, by 2027, what kind, and then, okay, so let's take out of this any physical labor jobs for a second. Are there any jobs that you think a human would be able to do better in a world of AGI? Still.
So that's the question though, if it's people in the world with AGI, and I think almost a million people get super intelligence right now. So the question really is, in a world of super intelligence, which is defined as better than all humans in all domains, what can you contribute? And so you know more than anyone who is like you. You know what ice-cream is to you. Can you get paid for that knowledge? Is someone interested in that? Maybe not a big market. There are jobs where you want a human, maybe you're rich, and you want a human account for whatever historic reasons. Old people like traditional ways of doing things. Warren Buffett would not switch to AI, he would use his human. But it's a tiny subset of the market. Today we have products which are man-made in US as opposed to mass produced in China. And some people pay more to have those. But it's a small subset. It's almost a fetish. There is no practical reason for it. And I think anything you can do on a computer could be automated using that technology.
Lloyd, cable.
You must hear a lot of rebuttals to this when you say it, because people experience a huge amount of mental discomfort when they hear that their job, their career, the thing they got a degree in, the thing they invested $100,000 into is going to be taken away from them. So their natural reaction, for some people, is that cognitive dissonance that, no, you're wrong, AI can't be creative, it's not this, it's not that, I'll never be interested in my job, I'll be fine because. You hear this.
It's really funny. I asked people in different occupations to ask me over drive. Are you worried about self-driving cars? And they go, no one can do what I do. I know the streets of New York, I can navigate no AI. I'm safe. And it's true for any job. That's our society. Nobody can watch on kind of so special. But different studies, I think we already have self-driving cars in place in drivers. That is not even a question if it's possible. It's like, how soon before you fire?
Yeah, I mean, I've just been in LA yesterday. My car drives itself, so I get in the car and sit, put it where I want to go, and I don't touch the steering wheel or the brake pedals, and it takes me from A to B, even if it's an hour-long drive without any intervention at all. I actually still park it, but other than that, I'm not driving the car at all. I mean, obviously in LA we also have Waymo now, which means you order it on your phone and it shows up with no driver in it and takes you to where you want to go. So it's quite clear to see how that is potentially a matter of time. If for those people, because we do have some of those people listening to this conversation right now, that their occupation is driving, to offer them and I think driving is the biggest occupation in the world, if I'm correct. I'm pretty sure it is the biggest occupation in the world. What would you say to those people? What should they be doing with their lives? Should they be retraining in something, or what time frame?
So that's the paradigm shift here. Before we always said this job is going to be automated, retrained to do this other job. But if I'm telling you that all jobs will be automated, then there is no plan B. You cannot retrain. Look at computer science. 2 years ago, we told people, learn to code. You are an artist, you cannot make money, learn to code. Then we realized, oh, AI kind of knows how to code and getting better. Become a prompt engineer. You can engineer prompts for AIs. It's going to be a great job. Get a 4-year degree in it. But then we're like, AI is way better at designing prompts for other AIs than any human. So that's gone. So I can't really tell you right now the hardest thing is design AI agents for practical applications. I guarantee you in a year or two it's going to be done just as well. So I don't think there is this occupation needs to learn to do this instead. I think it's more like we as a humanity, then we all lose our jobs. What do we do? What do we do financially? Who's paying for us? And what do we do in terms of meaning? What do I do with my extra 60, 80 hours a week?
You've thought around this corner, haven't you?
A little bit.
What is around that corner, in your view?
So the economic part seems easy. If you create a lot of free labor, you have a lot of free wealth, abundance, things which are right now not very affordable become dirt cheap, and so you can provide for everyone basic needs. Some people say you can provide beyond basic needs, you can provide very good existence for everyone. The hard problem is, what do you do with all that free time? For a lot of people, their jobs are what gives them meaning in their lives, so they would be kind of lost. We see it with people who retire or do early retirement. And for so many people who hate their jobs, they'll be very happy not working. But now you have people who are chilling all day. What happens to society? How does that impact crime rate, pregnancy rate, all sorts of issues? Nobody thinks about it. Governments don't have programs prepared to deal with 99% unemployment.
What do you think that world looks like?
Again, I think a very important part to understand here is the unpredictability. We cannot predict what a smarter than us system will do. And the point when we get to that is often called singularity, by analogy with physical singularity. You cannot see beyond the event horizon. I can tell you what I think might happen, but that's my prediction. It is not what actually is going to happen, because I just don't have cognitive ability to predict a much smarter agent impacting this world. Then you read science fiction. There is never super intelligence in it actually doing anything because nobody can write believable science fiction at that level. They even banned AI like Dune because this way you can avoid writing about it. Or it's like Star Wars. You have this really dumb bots, but nothing super intelligent ever. Because by definition, you cannot predict at that level.
Who's the artist?
Because by definition, if it being super intelligent, it will make its own mind up.
By definition, if it was something you could predict, you would be operating at the same level of intelligence, violating our assumption that it is smarter than you. If I'm playing chess with superintelligence and I can predict every move, I'm playing at that level.
It's kind of like my French bulldog trying to predict exactly what I'm thinking and what I'm going to do.
That's a good cognitive gap. And it's not just he can predict you going to work, you coming back, but he cannot understand why you're doing the podcast. That is something completely outside of his model.
That's the same exact rule.
Yeah, he doesn't even know that I go to work. He just sees that I leave the house and doesn't know where I go.
Wait, am I free life?
Buy food for him.
What's the most persuasive argument against your own perspective here?
That we will not have unemployment due to advanced technology?
No, you are, Tat.
That there won't be this French bulldog human gap in understanding and, I guess, like power and control.
So some people think that we can enhance human minds either through combination with hardware, so something like Neuralink, or through genetically engineering to where we make smarter humans.
Yeah.
It may give us a little more intelligence. I don't think we're still competitive in biological form with silicon form. Silicon substrate is much more capable for intelligence. It's faster, it's more resilient, more energy efficient in many ways.
Which is what computers are made out of,
Exactly.
the brain. Yeah.
So I don't think we can keep up just with improving our biology. Some people think maybe, and this is very speculative, we can upload our minds into computers. So scan your brain, current column of your brain, and have a simulation running on a computer. And you can speed it up, give it more capabilities. But to me, that feels like you no longer exist. We just created software by different means, and now we have AI based on biology and AI based on some other forms of training. You can have evolutionary algorithms. You can have many paths to reach your GI. But at the end, none of them are humans.
I have another date here, which is 2030. What's your prediction for 2030? What will the world look like?
So we probably will have humanoid robots with enough flexibility, dexterity to compete with humans in all domains, including plumbers. We can make artificial plumbers.
Not the plumbers, that felt like the last bastion of human employment. So 2030, 5 years from now, humanoid robots, so many of the companies, the leading companies, including Tesla, are developing humanoid robots at light speed, and they're getting increasingly more effective. And these humanoid robots will be able to move through physical space, make an omelette, do anything humans can do, but obviously be connected to AI as well. So they can think, talk.
Right, they're controlled by AI, they're always connected to the network, so they're already dominating in the universe.
Our world will look remarkably different when humanoid robots are functional and effective. Because that's really when, it's incredible. The combination of intelligence and physical ability is really doesn't do much, does it, for us human beings?
Not much. So today, if you have intelligence through internet, you can hire humans to do your bidding for you. You can pay them in Bitcoin, so you can have bodies just not directly controlling them. So it's not a huge game changer to add direct control of physical bodies. Intelligence is where it's at. The important component is definitely higher ability to optimize, to solve problems, to find patterns people cannot see.
And then by 2045, I guess the world looks even more, which is 20 years from now.
So if it's still around,
If it's still around.
Ray Kurzweil predicts that that's the year for the singularity. That's the year where progress becomes so fast. So this AI doing science and engineering work makes improvements so quickly we cannot keep up anymore. That's the definition of singularity, point beyond which we cannot see, understand, predict.
See and understand, predict the intelligence itself, or
What is happening in the world? The technology is being developed. So right now, if I have an iPhone, I can look forward to a new one coming out next year, and I'll understand it has slightly better camera. Imagine now this process of researching and developing this phone is out of it. It happens every 6 months, every 3 months, every month, week, day, hour, minute, second. You cannot keep up with 30 iterations of iPhone in 1 day. You don't understand what capabilities it has, what proper controls are. It just escapes you. Right now, it's hard for any researcher in AI to keep up with the state of the art. While I was doing this interview with you, a new model came out, and I no longer know what the state of the art is. Every day, as a percentage of total knowledge, I get dumb. And we still don't know because I keep reading, but as a percentage of overall knowledge, we're all getting dumb. And when you take it to extreme values, you have zero knowledge, zero understanding of the world around you.
Simple choices. Sometimes it's nice not to have to make it. Get maximum protection and fragrance. Leave your man to you with MaxTech, powered by Global. That gives you 72 hours protection, along with a lasting powerful fragrance. Skin is for playing it small.
There's just this confidence I have when I'm cooking.
Why are y'all doing so slow?
some of the arguments against this eventuality are that when you look at other technologies like the Industrial Revolution, people just found new ways to work, and new careers that we could never have imagined at the time were created. How do you respond to that in the world of superintelligence?
It's a paradigm shift. We always had tools, new tools, which allowed some job to be done more efficiently. So instead of having 10 workers, you could have 2 workers, and 8 workers had to find a new job. And there was another job. Now you can supervise those workers or do something good. If you creating a meta invention, reinventing intelligence, you're inventing a worker, an agent, then you can apply that agent to the new job. There is not a job which cannot be automated. That never happened before.
That's crazy.
All the inventions we previously had were kind of
Wait, I can jump
a
on.
tool for doing something. So we invented fire. Huge game changer. But that's it. It stops with fire. We invent a wheel. Same idea. Huge implications, but wheel itself is not an inventor. Here we're inventing a replacement for human mind, a new inventor capable of doing new inventions. It's the last invention we ever have to make. At that point, it takes over. And the process of doing science, research, even ethics research, morals, all that is automated at that point.
Do you sleep well at night?
Really well.
Even though you spent the last 15, 20 years of your life working on AI safety, and it's suddenly among us in a way that I don't think anyone could have predicted 5 years ago. When I say among us, I really mean that the amount of funding and talent that is now focused on reaching superintelligence faster has made it feel more inevitable and more soon than any of us could have possibly imagined.
We as humans have this built-in bias about not thinking about really bad outcomes and things we cannot prevent. So all of us are dying. Your kids are dying, your parents are dying, everyone's dying. But you still sleep well, you still go on with your day. Even 95-year-olds are still doing games and playing golf and whatnot. Because we have this ability to not think about the worst outcomes, especially if we cannot actually modify the outcome. So that's the same infrastructure being used for this. Yeah, there's humanity level death-like event. We're happening to be close to it probably, but unless I can do something about it, I can just keep enjoying my life. In fact, maybe knowing that you have limited amount of time left gives you more reason to have a better life. You cannot waste it.
And that's the survival trait of evolution, I guess, because those of my ancestors that spent all their time worrying, wouldn't have spent enough time having babies and hunting to survive.
Suicidal ideation, people who really start thinking about how horrible the world is, usually escape pretty soon.
You co-authored this paper analysing the key arguments people make against the importance of AI safety. And one of the arguments in there is that there's other things that are of bigger importance right now. It might be world wars, it could be nuclear containment, it could be other things. There's other things that the governments and podcasters like me should be talking about that are more important. What's your rebuttal to that argument?
So superintelligence is a meta solution. If we get superintelligence right, it will help us with climate change, it will help us with wars, it can solve all the other existential risks. If we don't get it right, it dominates. If climate change will take 100 years to boil us alive, and superintelligence kills everyone in 5, I don't have to worry about climate change. So either way, either it solves it for me, or it's not an issue.
So you think it's the most important thing to be working on?
Without question, there is nothing more important than getting this right. And I know everyone says that you take any class, you take English professor's class, and he tells you this is the most important class you'll ever take. But you can see the meta-level differences with this one.
Another argument in that paper is that we will be in control and that the danger is not AI. This particular argument asserts that AI is just a tool, humans are the real actors that present danger, and we can always maintain control by simply turning it off. Can't we just pull the plug out? I see that every time we have a conversation on the show about AI, someone says, can't we just unplug it?
Yeah, I get those comments on every podcast I make, and I always want to get in touch with a guy and say, this is brilliant. I never thought of it. We're going to write a paper together and get a Nobel Prize for it. This is like, let's do it. Because it's so silly. Like, can you turn off a virus? You have a computer virus, you don't like it. Turn it off. How about Bitcoin? Turn off Bitcoin. Go ahead, oh wait. This is silly. Those are distributed systems. You cannot turn them off. And on top of it, they're smarter than you. They made multiple backups. They predicted what you're going to do. They will turn you off before you can turn them off. The idea that we will be in control applies only to 3 superintelligence levels, basically what we have today. Today, humans with AI tools are dangerous. They can be hackers, malevolent actors, absolutely. But the level of superintelligence becomes smarter, dominates. They no longer the important part of that equation. It is the higher intelligence I'm concerned about, not the human who may add additional malevolent payload, but at the end still doesn't control it.
It is tempting to follow the next argument that I saw in that paper, which basically says, listen, this is inevitable. So there's no point fighting against it because there's really no hope here. So we should probably give up even trying and be faithful that it will work itself out. Because everything you said sounds really inevitable. And if China and Putin's got some secret division, for Iran are doing some bits and pieces, every European country's trying to get ahead of AI. The United States is leading the way. So it's inevitable, so we probably should just have faith and pray.
Oh, praying is always good, but incentives matter. If you are looking at what drives these people, so yes, money is important. So there is a lot of money in that space, and so everyone's trying to be there and develop this technology. But if they truly understand the argument, they understand that you will be dead. No amount of money will be useful to you. Then incentives switch. They would want to not be dead. A lot of them are young people, rich people. They have their whole lives ahead of them. I think they would be better off not building advanced superintelligence, concentrating on narrow AI tools for solving specific problems. Okay, my company cures breast cancer. That's all. We make billions of dollars. Everyone's happy. Everyone benefits. It's a win. We are still in control today. It's not over until it's over. We can decide not to build general superintelligences.
I mean, the United States might be able to conjure up enough enthusiasm for that. But if the United States doesn't build general superintelligences, then China are going to have the big advantage, right?
So right now, at those levels, whoever has more advanced AI has more advanced military. No question, we see it with existing conflicts. But the moment you switch to superintelligence, uncontrolled superintelligence, it doesn't matter who builds it, us or them. And if they understand this argument, they also would not build it. It's a mutually assured distraction on both ends.
Is this technology different than, say, nuclear weapons, which require a huge amount of investment, and you have to like enrich the uranium, and you need billions of dollars potentially to even build a nuclear weapon? But it feels like this technology is much cheaper to get to superintelligence potentially, or at least it will become cheaper. I wonder if it's possible that some guy, some startup is going to be able to build superintelligence in, a couple of years without the need of billions of dollars of compute or electricity power.
That's a great
Bruh.
point. So every
That's it.
year it becomes
We're
cheaper
going.
and cheaper to train sufficiently large model.